Hi, this is Mike Murphy, author of the book Love Unfiltered. The main purpose of the book is to teach people and show them how that they're the captain of their own destiny, that they can create and manifest the deepest desires of their heart. And I teach them and show them in a way where it's so powerful that it's almost guaranteed to happen if you just follow these simple instructions. But the other thing that people take away from the book is how I dealt with the grief of one, losing my 38-year-old wife after a 9-year battle with breast cancer. And so that's really what I want to talk to you about today, because loss is loss. And you might have lost your job. You might have got divorced. You might have broke up with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Loss is loss, and loss hurts. And it can polarize, and it can freeze us for a certain point in time. When my wife was alive, it was obvious she was in her last days. I mean, hospice was there. She's on an oxygen machine. She can't walk. It was obvious what was happening, right? But, you know, you always think you have one more day. At least I did, until you don't. And that's when grief will just come and just hit you so hard over the face. It'll destroy you. And there were times where, you know, I just couldn't get out of bed. But that's all I had. I did the best I could that day. I stayed in bed. Okay, and sometimes that will happen to you, and you just got to keep going. And if that's all you have that particular day, you pull the covers up over your head and you stay in bed, and you don't beat yourself up. You just get through that moment. Okay, some people use prayer. I used a lot of prayer. I used a lot of reading of great spiritual books. Or if I couldn't read anymore, I would put them on a listening device, and I would just walk around the neighborhood, sometimes in circles, and just listening to strong people talking about strong things, like we can't die, and that we are consciousness, and we are pure love, and that's our true essence, and that my wife didn't die. And you just fill yourself with this stuff. It doesn't mean you still don't get lonely. It doesn't still mean you're full of despair, and some days you just can't function. But to get through grief, the greatest thing that I've discovered to get through grief, and it was by accident, but shortly after my wife died, I met another person that had stage 4 breast cancer. And ironically, she was the same age as my wife, 38 years old. And I befriended her, and I did the best I could to help her through her illness, and I got to know her. And it was being with her, even though it was a different kind of pain, but it was a pain that was coupled with immense love and immense service. Because I really believe for us and humanity, not only for me to continue my life, but for all of us to live a really healthy, strong, powerful life, that we need to get back to an attitude of loving and serving one another. You know, there's more than enough for everybody. You know, the old paradigm was that, you know, I had to get mine before you got yours, or I wouldn't have enough for me. That's BS. There's enough here for everybody if we will just understand that. And we will come from an attitude of love and service as opposed to take and keep. And so if you want to get out of grief, if you want to trump any kind of loss, whether it's a divorce, a death of a loved one, a loss of a job, financial ruin, whatever, get out of yourself by giving to someone else. And some days, that might just be a smile to somebody you pass on the street. But that smile that you give to that stranger might change their life. And a whole ripple effect goes across the planet. If everybody, not everybody, if 10% of us would just adapt this new way of, this old way of living, of love and service, we could transcend the misery on this planet like that. Grief. It doesn't have to destroy you. It certainly doesn't have to define you. And the best way to get out of it is to go do something for someone else.